Uh-oh.
I don't know why I got the giggles there. Welcome to the Game Informer Show, a weekly gaming podcast releasing every Thursday. I am your host, Alex Stadnick, and as always, I am honored to be joined by my illustrious co-host, Alex Van Aken.
Hello, how are you, Alex?
I'm doing better than your foot is, apparently.
Yeah, I can't walk, but I can podcast, and I can podcast quite well. So let's do this thing, baby.
Let's do it, baby, indeed. Join us each episode alongside a rotating crew of GI editors and special guests from across the industry.
Ooh.
As we bring you the latest gaming news, reviews, big man swag your eyes and ears can handle. I'm having a bad big man swag today.
I'm trying to
Swag day
embrace it.
today.
This is the first episode I'm embracing big man swag.
It took you a month?
Yeah, I'm self-conscious.
Hey,
so,
that's what this is about. We're bringing it out. We're
body
celebrating.
positivity.
Yes.
We love you for you. Let's do a damn gaming podcast.
A Dan gaming podcast? That's a
A
nice
Dan
little
gaming
tease.
podcast. Yeah.
Because this week we're breaking down our thoughts on New World, the Night School Studios news, and so much more. But first, we're gonna get into the Dan cast here because we got Dan Tack rocking with us today. Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi, Alex. It's great to be here. What is big man swag?
Big
Does
man
anybody know? Is there a definition? I'm trying to look it up.
I'll hit you with it because this is like actually kind of serious for me because Alex joked about.
I'm genuinely curious.
It is a body positivity thing where it's like I've always been the big kid, for years and years and years, and it's time to embrace that. It's time to embrace who you are, and it's not just man, it's everyone. Everyone should be positive about themselves. Like bring that swag in. It's the people whose society may be like go away, and it's like, nah, we're here. Look at this. I got roses on my shirt. You kidding me? Like life is good. So
Wow. Yeah.
that's kind of where that comes from.
It's a state of being.
Correct.
I like it. Okay,
Yeah.
I can dig with that. Well, I'm bringing my own big man swag. What's up, everybody? Great to be here.
It's good to have you. And then, as always, the RPG queen, Kimberly Wallace.
Wonder freaking woman today. Hey, yo.
Hey, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am so good. I'm excited to talk video games. I'm excited because we have Jill Grote joining us. Hello, Jill.
Hello, how are you?
I am so good. I think you're developing a bit of a reputation. I think you have your finger on the indie scene, my friend, and I'm here for it. Yeah, it's awesome. How are you today?
I am doing very well. It is a lovely day here in sunny California.
Oh, is it? What's the temperature there?
It's like 72 and beautiful.
Oh, that's perfect.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
Is California always sunny, Jill?
It depends on where you go.
Okay.
I grew up in the Central Valley and it's like deathly hot. But in the Bay Area, it's
because I feel like California gets to the, it's always sunny here. Colorado, though, 300 days of sunshine. Just want to say. I don't know if California
You're not
can
bragging.
match that.
I don't think we get quite so many. Like we do get storms and things of that nature, but for the most part, it's just lovely weather. We don't get like when I was over there living in Minnesota with snow, like I think maybe Kim and Dan can attest to this. Like I didn't take my jacket off like once.
Oh Lord, yeah, that's right. I forgot that your internship during the winter here. I'm surprised you wanted to come back when Reiner said, "Hey, do you want to join the team?"
Yeah, I was very much like, as long as I can stay in California, that's great.
I should have told him I'll join on if I can move to California. But
oh, down.
Expensive, yeah. Anyways, video games. That's why we're all here. And we're gonna start we actually have some news to talk about this week where we didn't really last week. Well, we just didn't want to be wrong on the news that came out with the Nintendo Direct, but that's neither here nor there. Because this week, Netflix is making some big moves even outside of movies and TV. They've acquired Night School Studio, which is the Oxenfree development studio. We've actually had the crew on the podcast at one point. So
After party,
yep. Correct. Yep. And then Oxenfree 2, Lost Signals, which is set to come out next year at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. So we'll break it down. We have the GI post from Mr. Ben Reeves here. He says, Night School Studio is the team behind the beloved adventure games Oxenfree and After Party, as we outlined here. But after 7 years of working as an independent studio, the developer is being acquired by streaming giant Netflix. This is surprising, but not a complete shock. Netflix has been working to break into the gaming industry for some time. However, this has been the first time Netflix has outright acquired a game studio. And if y'all don't remember, there has been a couple attempts. There was the Stranger Things game. It was like a beat 'em up. And then there was what's like the Jim Henson thing that's not the
Dark
the Dark Crystal. The Dark Crystal.
Dark Crystal. They did a game with that, and I
didn't know that one, huh?
I think you're better off for that. I think I don't think we liked it here at GI, if I'm remembering right. So I'm curious on y'all's take. So Oxenfree and After Party, very story driven games, right? And this feels like kind of a natural fit in my mind. Van Aken, how do you feel about the merging of minds here?
Yeah, I feel like there are a few game studios that come to mind when I think of like the word or the themes and the vibe of Netflix, and Night School is definitely one of those. Like I feel like Oxenfree, I don't remember I believe it came out afterwards. Regardless, even if it was inspired, if it wasn't inspired, that game like has all of the nostalgic lo-fi vibes that Netflix loves to cash in on with, things like Stranger Things, even like I feel like Sex Education to a certain extent. But yeah, like their aesthetic and the themes of their games and just like the topics and the overall presentation, their music always just rocks. Presentation, like I said, is great. I feel like those are some of Netflix's key core principles. Like if you look up the requirements to get a show on Netflix, they are very much about style and fidelity. And I think Night School has a lot of those qualities in their games. So it makes sense to me that they would, if they were looking to pick up an indie studio, Night School would definitely fit in there. So also the devs behind Night in the Woods come to mind as well. But yeah.
I thought you meant for a second there was like Night in the Woods devs either a part of this deal or they were part of that studio. I was like, what?
Like, wow, that's news.
Yeah. But I'm not sure. I don't think that studio's actually around any longer. But there's several games like that come to mind. Even like Return to Obra Dinn, I could see that would be like a cool Netflix joint from Lucas Pope. But yeah, so I'm excited for this. I don't know what it's gonna be, what's gonna come of this, but I like Night School Studio. I like their games. So yeah, that's kind of my take.
Yeah. I think I'm split a little bit on this too, before, good in a good way for all the things you outlined. And, now an independent dev has guaranteed revenue coming in right now, which is always a good thing, right? But it's always a thing where it's like, is Netflix going to put their fingers in the pie and not, dictate content? Like, how is that going to work? And I hope they kind of let that studio create, because they've shown that they're pretty good at that. Tak, you usually have an opinion on these kind of things. Where do you stand on this?
Oh boy, how do I even want to approach this? For one thing, about Netflix taking games seriously, call me when they buy a AAA studio. All right.
Come on, Tak.
They've got more money than God over there. If they were really taking it seriously, listen. Hey, that's not a diss on the company, which they absolutely will have fingers in the pie, Alex. That's not only hey, yes, they own them. Why would they not? That's like buying the pie shop and saying they're not gonna have anything in the recipe. Of course they are. Yes. The answer is yes.
It's a good thing for the studio's longevity. It's gonna help them create have more money to do things. I mean, their games are very much with different choices and trying to make the choices all go somewhere, with the branching paths, obviously. And I wonder, having more money on their side, maybe more resources, if that can make some of these games, a little stronger. I remember way back when they pitched Oxenfree to me, they were telling me like, what if like you brought a coming age movie to a video game? And they're like citing Goonies, Poltergeist, Stand By Me, all that. So like Night School is very influenced by, these narrative driven coming of age films. And then they went and did After Party, which was like very different, right? Mm-hmm. You're trying to like win a battle in hell with the devil drinking, which was just a complete, and it showed two very different sides to them, which I thought was cool. And I just think, you know, with more time and a bigger staff and even like just putting their unique ideas together, I don't think this is a bad thing for, I think we'll hear more from Night School. Like, would I like to see Netflix, as Dan said, you know, put more of their money behind this gaming thing and see what they can do? Absolutely. But I think going with some indie developers to start is definitely the testing grounds to see where they can go, because this can also go very poorly. I mean, we've seen mixed things with Amazon, for instance, getting in the game space. A lot of stuff hasn't been great that's come out of there, but then, you know, we have something like New World, which Dan's playing and digging so far. So
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sort of with both of you guys on this one. Like, I'm totally fine if they never get anything besides indie developers and they go in that route and that's just the way they want to go. Totally down for that. But I do think there is some sort of feeling of not being completely serious and maybe half in, half out here, because they didn't acquire Night School before they announced their big next game. They don't have really a game for Netflix here. There's no like announcement besides the acquisition. They only have one studio. We don't really have plans for the future. We don't know what they're really thinking about. And yeah, there is that history, like Kim is saying, of other non-gaming entities trying to jump in because gaming's so big right now, and then realizing they're not really suited for this, and those things that they announce that seem so exciting just suddenly melt away.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I'm coming from. I'm still, you know, Stadia, if y'all remember, was announced only a few years ago. That's kind of where my head is at. And you know, while I like original IP, I'm not opposed to, you know, licensed stuff coming in. And if Night School could work on a Stranger Things game, like that feels a match made in heaven, right? So you know, obviously this just happened, so we don't have the full context around it, but it is very interesting to see what's coming down the pipe with this, and if whether or not we'll get original IP from the studio anymore, or if it's always just going to be licensed stuff. It feels like they kind of took a page out of what Marvel's doing, but instead with like, you know, finding the right studios for their games, but they bought them instead. Like, you know, the difference is there, but you know, like Alex said, if we can get great narrative studios working with, you know, the king of narrative right now in Netflix, I think it could be a good thing. Like we said, especially for those devs too. So,
and like I said, I by the way, just to point it out, I didn't disagree with anything Kim said either. All right, my viewpoints are not actually, you know, exclusive to not what's being said here. I think it's great that they are going to have more resources to hopefully create a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Just to clarify that before I get made out to be the bad guy.
I actually didn't. My tax senses didn't go off on that one. I thought everyone
I didn't
was.
think you're being bad
Yeah.
guy at all. But I'm just right now it's a bunch of possibilities, right? And we won't know until time goes on what that will lead to as they start announcing more of what the plans are and what they're gonna do. So these announcements always sometimes when they don't come with much of a indication of like where they're headed, where they're going, it's kind of like it could be cool, but it could also go the other way. So I hate to be that person who's like, but you know, that's what it is. It's possibilities right now. I don't know, you know, what their plans are entirely or how they see the studio. Like, do they trust them with their huge properties? Are they going to do a test run with something smaller and have it like with a new show that they're putting out? We don't know. So time will tell.
And as Ben Reeves says in his article here, fans shouldn't be worried about Oxenfree 2. Crankle went on to assure fans that Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals is still in the works. It's worth noting that this isn't the first time the two companies have worked together. Interesting. Night School and Telltale were working on a Stranger Things game for Netflix, but that game was never released. You can find out more on GameInformer.com. Quickly, before we jump off this subject, I'm curious, outside of Stranger Things, is there a game or is there an IP that Netflix has that you'd want from Night School to work on?
There is now.
Yeah, I don't even want a Stranger Things game. I think I'm kind of done with Stranger Things after this next season. I feel like they've kind of milked that cow dry. And as somebody who has, you know, some of the memorabilia or the soundtracks they've sold, I think I own one of the vinyls. But yeah, I'm kind of just like, let's cool it on the Stranger Things. I did mention earlier Sex Education. I love that show. I think it's great. I think that would make for an interesting game, especially by night school. I think, something more narrative driven, where you are exploring more mature themes, than games typically kind of dive into. I think that could be cool. But I mean, even like an All the Boys I've Loved Before game, I think that would be sick. I love all of their.
Sweet Tooth would be cool.
Yeah.
I got one.
What you got, Tag?
Squid Game.
Squid Game?
You make the a story-based battle royale game. Okay?
Yep. Okay.
It's a slam dunk for that studio. You can pay, you got my number. Give me a call. All right.
Checks in the mail, Tag. What is... Sorry, go for it, Jill.
No, I'm like, this is not going to happen, but I love the idea. The Witcher is Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on, that would be fantastic.
CD Projekt Red's probably not working on anything, right?
It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think they are working on something.
They are
probably right now.
Yeah.
Still,
we don't want to get into those rumors or speculation that they might be making games. Come on now.
Oh, I was thinking fixing games, but,
but no comment. I really want to ask what Squid Game is, but I don't think we have time on this particular show because
it's really good and you should watch it. The end.
This is Dan and Reiner have both told me individually.
Yeah.
Go watch Squid Game. So while we're podcasting, I'm logging into my Netflix account and adding it to my queue.
I thought you were gonna say you're watching it right now. I was like, no.
Yeah.
For many reasons. Later. Yeah. That's a cool look. If y'all want to read the full piece by Ben Reeves, go over to GameInformer.com. Check out his article over there. But shout out to Night School, getting them checks, baby. We love to see it. Topic of the show. Oh wait, I forgot I shouldn't be doing noises. We said no to that.
No noises.
No, I thought that was a cool noise. I approve of this noise.
Yep.
It's now podcast lore. It's canon now. What can I do? Dan Tack.
Hi.
Canon master of the canons. You've been playing a MMO RPG that I would like to hear about. Little New World.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
I
don't know. I haven't heard much about that one. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, this is gosh, where to even begin? This is it's a hydra of conversation. This was certainly the right time for a new MMO to release. This game is hotter than hell out the gates. Okay.
Cool.
Super hot. I'm quite taken with it myself, but I also have been around this. I've been around the block before. I was there for all those MMOs of the 2000s and the 2010 plus, and I can say a lot of things about the game right now. Let's talk about the game right now. But again, it is going to be within that lens of the first 48, as it may be. Okay, so anything we discuss, it's about the first 48 hours of my gameplay on the live servers. I think this game has really compelling crafting and gathering, a la RuneScape, as many have already said. So as somebody who really likes picking carrots and mining and lumbering and doing all that stuff, this game has scratched an itch, as we say. I hate using that term. Delete that. But yeah, this game has sort of aspects about it that are not popular in MMOs today. MMOs have gone the theme park route over the last decade, which means you're going from attraction to attraction, dungeon to dungeon, taking the ride, going to another experience. This game taps into a lot of stuff that was in a lot of RPG, a lot of MMOs of earlier lore. So it doesn't really break any new ground anywhere, but it's new ground for people today, for sure. A territory focused, socially focused, crafting and resources matter focused, player creation focused game is not really the paradigm today. Today, we're all about riding the roller coasters, seeing the sights, and going to the next one. Right.
So that's interesting, and this is coming from a noob perspective of my own for MMOs. You say social focused. Is that not?
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the name, massively multiplayer online. Is it like? What does that mean? And is that not the case in other MMOs?
This could be its own podcast. But yeah, so player interaction has sort of systemically been removed from the games for multiple reasons. One of the things including that people aren't very nice to each other. So the best way to eliminate people being people is to eliminate their interactions with each other or to limit them. Yikes. Right?
Yeah.
Like in some games, you queue up for a dungeon, You do the dungeon. You probably don't ever say another word to those people, and you never see them again. Territory-focused, PV-centric game like this, you must interact with your own team for better or worse in order to succeed. So I hope you know some good people, and you're going to have to weed out some bad apples, a lot of them today, from your play group. But it's taking a chance by letting social happen. You may have noticed over the last decade, social elements have been, again, just instead of having to moderate and corral people, the easier way to do it is just make it so people can't talk to each other. that's really been the order of business as things have gone on in online gaming over the last decade. But that's a whole other podcast. Yeah. Right now, what you have here in New World is a very strange amalgamation of crafting and gathering centric game, a la RuneScape, and a realm versus realm territory matters PvP experience that you do not have to engage in if you don't want to, which is bizarre since that's a third of the beast here, a third of the Hydra, as we're calling it in Danland. And then you've got a PvE, a rather underwhelming PvE experience on top of those things that actually works given the other elements, because everything flows into the crafting and trading and gathering, going out into the world, smashing some skeletons and bringing back your hard-earned loot to the old tannery where you're going to get things made and put them up for sale in Frontierland. All right, that's if you like gathering stuff, I've been cat jamming out to this game super hard. But I also realize the end game of this game could be completely, and that's the only thing that an MMO is ever judged by, right? I can't tell you how many games that were the WoW killers back in the day that me and my entire guild would move to for 2 weeks. It became a meme. Everyone was like, all right, what's the next 2-week game? And we would be like, wow, this is really cool. It does these things right. And then you get to the end game and there's nothing there. And you have MMOs are the most content requirements, right? The community is voracious. My playtime over this last 24 hours is probably 20 hours. And that's not even like on the top end for these people playing right now. We're going to, like parasites, just rip through this thing, right? All the way to the very end. That's what MMO players do. We burrow in, we dig in, and we will get to that end game in record time that the developers never anticipate. They're like, no, they have to like sleep. They have a job. No, we will do whatever it takes. And we will get there and we will find out what it's all about. But I can tell you right now, the early game to me has been very compelling due to the crafting and gathering components. Combat, not too exciting for me. So what?
Why is that?
Really great question, Alex. I'm glad you asked.
Are you?
Yeah. So this sort of groks from ESO and Guild Wars 2 probably for its combat inspiration. So you don't have a whole lot to do. You can argue, oh yeah, you do. You can dodge, you can block, you can do these other things, but it's really, you just hit your buttons. I know there's some guys going to come into the comments and try to tear me apart, but you know what? No, the combat is not very interesting, and that's okay because I'm doing the combat while I'm doing other things. This is the ultimate game of, oh look, a piece of candy. So you're going to do a quest in an area. The quest is boring. The quest is kill 10 of the things, 10 skeletons. Or mine 5 chests. You're gonna be doing this for forever, for a long time, for hundreds of hours.
Kill 5,000 boars type of thing.
But while you're killing those boars, maybe you get a rare drop off the boar when you skin it. Maybe you see a cool rare spawn mineral in the distance. You're gonna constantly be hopping from.
Oh, here's a pond I can go and fish at.
Yeah, exactly. And you're gonna be, if you like to do the full scale engagement, this is a very strange game because you have to enjoy all of the elements together. I think to make it work for you. You've got to be like, yes, I like crafting and gathering. Yeah, I can deal with like the daily quest style PvE, and that's fine, right? It feels good. Raising my faction numbers going up feels good. This is possibly one of the ultimate numbers going up feels good experiences because you're getting it on multiple fronts, right? And then at the same time, you're like, well, what if I see somebody from the other faction? Maybe I'll have to rally with my team and go guard a fort, which is something that's going to be really cool for like 2 weeks and then be really annoying when it's 3 a.m. Like, I remember this. I lived this, okay? I played multiple games where I had to wake up at 2 a.m. and be like, that's when they're attacking the fort. And it's always at 2 a.m. It's never going to be at like 5 o'clock. It's going to be either during the workday or in the middle of the night. That's when, and this game tried to have like war times to sort of balance with that. There's certain like siege times that you have to like schedule around. I don't know exactly how that works yet. I'm sure it's something that seems really cool now, but will become a pain when we have to defend territory later on, right? It's very novel right now. It's like, oh, we're doing world PvP again. We haven't done this in years. But I promise you the novelty of that will wear off. So I'm really interested to see where it's going. Does it matter where it's going if I'm having fun with it right now? A lot of people would argue no. And I'm like, okay, fine. It's a box cost. Here, let's get into this. Another topic. New World is you buy the game, buy to play, no subscription. And right now, everything that you can pay for is cosmetic. But I'm led to understand that will not always be the case. So I don't really love the whole let's put the game out there without everything, and then
once you're into it,
after it's been reviewed and it's hotter than the sun, then we're gonna put out some pay to win stuff. Does that seem to be the case? That what might happen here? Yeah. So know that going in. And also know, again, this is such a God, reviewing an MMO in today's landscape, especially a beast like this, is such a, again, it's a multifaceted hydra. And I gotta take every element in its own little bucket. And there are many a bucket to be had here.
I do not envy you.
Can I hunt wolves in the game?
You absolutely
slay wolves.
I have good news for you. If you like hunting wolves, you can hunt many a wolf.
Let's go.
And you can take that back to Frontierland and the Tannery and arr. All right.
Can we hire you to read bedtime stories, please?
Please do.
Are you saying you just put us all to sleep?
No, like never-ending story type of stories. You know what I mean? Like, you know, very whimsical, magical experiences.
One more page.
Yeah, yeah. You and can when they remake The Princess Bride, you're gonna be the grandpa. It's gonna be great. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or an insult. But either way, I'm glad to be here, and I'm having a really good time with New World here. It's just there's so many different freaking aspects of this thing. This feels like it was one game, and then it was another game, and then they put a third game in there.
Oh man.
And it feels like 3 captains were trying to pilot this ship.
Yeah.
And they all like gave up at various different points and had to compromise. And it does feel like, you know, game by committee in that sense in a lot of ways. It's like, no, we need this. We need dungeons. We need PvE. You got to have that. No, we need to have this. It's a PvP game about taking territory and fighting each other. No, it's not. It's a game about crafting.
Imagine that's like almost every MMO where they're just like, but now we need this. No, we don't have that. No, let's put this in. And
I do feel like that has definitely happened to this project over time. But is there still fun stuff to be had for me right now on day 2? Absolutely. I'm freaking loving it. I'm loving working with my guild to take over territory, which we do own. I love crafting it. Like, the little joy of crafting a bag and putting it on the auction house, right? It's like, wow, this is a really cool bag. 6% of the time, I'll get my ammo back if I shoot it while I'm wielding this bag. That's a really cool thing. If you get excited about stuff like that, this is the game for you, folks. I'm getting into it.
Yep.
I love it.
I'm in number 36 in queue right now. So I've been waiting hours.
Bro, you're watching Netflix, you're playing New World.
Yeah, and I'm podcasting.
What kind of podcast is this?
You're a man of many talents. Yeah.
I can multitask. You know, get a guy a raise. Let's do this.
We speak facts here on the GI show.
We do.
Tack, so it sounds like, because talking to you after the beta, you were a little bit more dubious. I don't know if it's the right word, but a little bit more.
The cautious optimism has always been there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can it make me as interested in this game in 100 hours as I am into it right now? That's a question we're going to have on another podcast because I can't speak to it right now.
Yeah.
It's super cool right now. I just don't want to be, as somebody who has played MMOs for practically my entire life, I know that we have to consider the end as well as the beginning. The beginning rocks. All right? I'll say that. It's true. You're going to freaking love this game out the gates. Are you going to love it 60 hours from now or 80 hours from now, which is what I'm going to get chastised for if I just give it the carte blanche? Yeah, this game rules, everybody. Go play it. I know there's going to be people like, dude, Dan, what are you telling me? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you what's cool right now and what the possible potential problems are down the road. And then we'll meet back here in a few weeks and we'll have some ice cream and we're going to, it'll be great.
What kind of ice cream? Tell me, Dan.
Mint chocolate chip.
Okay.
That's a
I
good
can
pick.
handle that.
The ice cream of kings.
Yeah, it's a classic.
What is chocolate chip cookie dough?
Chocolate chip cookie dough is
overrated.
Sort of pedestrian fare.
All right. I shouldn't have asked the question. Yeah.
Well, you asked me. You did ask. You walked right into it, Alex.
Pick.
Yeah.
Do you want some chocolate milk with your dinner too, Alex?
Yeah, that'd be great.
See,
actually.
I didn't do
you
it.
kidding me?
I didn't do it.
Well, you were like, hold on. No, this is getting personal now. You don't like chocolate milk?
I do. I love chocolate milk, but I'm not going to sit down at dinner with it.
Why not?
Why
If you could
not?
have chocolate milk at
Wow,
dinner.
this just devolved into some elitism.
a-
You're going to
it's a
see
I
this when
nice-
you
didn't
play New
realize that
World.
this is
It's
where
a
we were
nice
going with
treat,
this.
you know.
I can have chocolate at any time of the day, okay? It does not matter
When the factions
or
fight,
for
this is what
what
it sounds like in New
meal.
World. Yeah, this is
Yeah, for the syndicate.
Yeah.
There are no limits
Yes.
on chocolate, baby.
This may be TMI, but when I used to go to basketball practice, or like I went to this basketball camp in middle school.
You
My
play
friend's dad-
basketball with
I
your
did.
height? Really?
Shocking, I know, right? Too bad I wasn't fast enough or could jump or shoot. It was the whole thing. But my friend's dad used to give us chocolate milk and beef jerky for protein
And now I'm gonna vomit.
after. And that's what my parents said, Kim, after they smelled what had came home. I won't get into any further detail. So,
Oh God.
kids, don't eat chocolate milk and beef jerky together. It'll
Good
be a stinky
Lord.
time. Yeah.
Ooh.
is this the big man swag we've been talking about?
I think
Big
so.
man swag.
That's right.
It's a big man stank. That's what that is. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I'm curious for Van Aken. I know you played the beta, and you're still waiting in queue. But has anything Tax said dissuade you or made you more excited to jump into this?
No, I think TAC has been. I played the original preview event that was like last summer. Then I hopped into not the last beta that was earlier this month, but the one that I was in this past July, I believe, and played another 15 hours. But total, I mean, TAC is the MMO dude. Like I trust him when he says he's worried about end game, because I've only played the beginning, and as TAC said, the beginning's really fun. It's great. So we'll see what happens, but I just love the excitement around a new MMO launch. I think it's a wonderful time, to soak in the atmosphere and the excitement, and play with your friends, even if 90% of them are gonna drop off. Enjoy the time, have some fun while you can, even if it's for just a few weeks. Especially with the game that is, there's no subscription. That's a big plus in my opinion, for now. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I am update. I am now number 32 in line. So we're getting closer. I'm very excited.
And I'll say this just real quick. Like I had some of the old MMO friends come out of the woodwork for this one. Like you said, all the Princess Bride grandpas are all out playing with each other again, for this game. So
Would
we'll
you
see
let
how-
me
we'll see
tell
how it
the
goes.
story?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then there was a monster. All right.
What is the upfront cost? You both have said it at this point, or I didn't hear what the actual cost was though. Do we know?
There's
think,
a couple different price points.
Yeah, the
right?
base version's what, $40?
Yeah.
Deluxe is 50. And I think those are the two SKUs, right, Dan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are the two.
Yep,
And then
I'm
you
looking
can
at
get
Steam right now. Those are the two.
Okay.
So 40 or
not-
50.
Not a full $60 price point to jump into, which makes that as someone who's a non-MMO person a little bit more interested. Jill, I'm just getting to know your gaming tastes. Are you an MMO fan? Not really.
No, not at all. But
Okay. Yeah.
I'm happy for everybody who's excited for this.
Yeah. Kim, same boat.
I just I have a personality type, as you know, with RPGs, where once I get into something, I really get
Yeah.
into it. And so MMOs are kind of dangerous for me. So
Fair.
I will not play anything else, and it'll be a problem for my job. I have to keep my job, obviously.
Oh, that
Wait,
again.
do we? I
Yeah.
guess I should stop playing.
Oh, that again.
But Tack, you're good because you'll play them all. But see, I can't have that going, and I can't have my sports gaming going, and then the RPG. It's just too much. There's only only so many hours in the day.
Yes,
Yeah,
there
and this
are.
is a game that will capitalize your time while you're super engaged. And that's the thing. For some MMOs, it's like a sprint, and then you kind of start walking. When you hit level cap, there's only certain things you can do. Everybody wants to. Again, people are at their hungriest when the game is just launch time for an MMO. As Alex said, is always probably the most exciting time. Everybody's playing, everybody's coming together, everybody's talking about what they're finding. They're sharing loot, they're sharing stories, they're doing dungeons together. It's wild. Cats and dogs living together.
Hysteria.
Exactly.
I love it. Cool. Well, if you're interested in New World, Dan has now 2 features on it, correct?
There'll be more.
There will be more, we promise. We have one stream archive that you can go check out. We have it's New World City over here, baby, and we're living for it. So out now, PC. I think it's a good time to take a break, and we'll get back to the playlist. Welcome back to the GI Show. We are in the playlist now, which is the beautiful segment where our editors get to tell you what they're playing, what they're enjoying. And Jill, I believe this is the first time you've been on in a little bit here. So I want to kick things off with you because I am dying to know how the heck is Sable?
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah, good.
I am super in love with this game. If you're a person like me who sort of dives into games and then once you're sort of set free into an open world, you just sort of like, let me go see what that lake is doing, or let me just go fishing for a couple hours or whatever. Like this is sort of the game for you because it does away with the main quest. You know, that sort of like you have to go save the world and it's super important and you'd better do it. And then, but why don't you help this guy like fix his horse or whatever? You know, so you have that sort of disconnect of like, I really probably should be saving the world, but you know, this person needs 3 fishes. So
yeah.
So Sable starts out, it is this very beautiful game in the world of called Midden, and it's some kind of desert world where however long ago humans crash landed. So it's kind of a sci-fi thing, but like low technology. So humans have crash landed. You've got all of these like large ships strewn about the place that are just ruins now. And then you are playing a Sable. You're with your clan. You're doing life. It's great, but you're about to hit the age at which children start to become adults, and you need to go on this rite of passage called the gliding. And it's, I think, called the gliding because you get a little stone in the beginning that lets you glide. So good.
I need to play this.
It's so good. So your only real task in this game is to go out and just enjoy life, see what's out there, see what you can see, go explore and take in everything that you can. There is a little bit of structure in case it's really overwhelming for you to just be like plopped into the middle of the desert and said, okay, go. But so the basic idea is you're going out to find your identity, and these are represented by masks. And you can get a mask by collecting badges. So if I say wanted to get the Hercules beetle mask, because I'm super into beetles, you would go to people, and you never really know who exactly is going to give you these. But if you come across someone and they're like, hey, can you help me out with this beetle-related task? You know, like you do.
As you do, yeah.
You go out, you do the thing, you come back, and they give you a badge. And then if you collect 3 beetle mask badges, you can go to a mask caster, which is some sort of a wild entity I don't want to guess the nature of. You go in, you kind of hand them over, cosmic things happen, and then you have a mask that looks like a beetle. And you can wear that and you go out and have fun.
But you're not mentioning the best part of who does the soundtrack for this.
Oh, I have not. I'll get to that. And then
Teaser.
Yeah. Oh
my name is Jonas is just playing as you blare across the desert. Perfect.
Then
yeah.
then for sure.
There is the most amazing, like, a la Red Dead when you go to Mexico moment. Where you leave your village behind, you're sort of like experiencing the freedom and sort of trepidation of suddenly like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like they haven't given me really a goalpost, but like everything opens up and it's just so beautiful. Like, oh, so you're feeling these sort of emotions that you might feel if you were a child flung out into the desert to find yourself. And on top of that, it's the most beautiful song from Japanese Breakfast. It is like celebration of freedom and exploration, and it's just this like if you don't have emotions during this moment, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't think you're human.
I started this game the other night and didn't know anything going in. And I think you really hit like the nail on the head of just like that feeling of I had to like take my mind back a second and be like, wait, but there's like no main quest here that I'm so used to being pushed, but I did really like all the stuff that they're talking about like, you know, coming of age. It's like your moment to kind of get out there in the world. And I thought the dialogue they have done in the little speech bubbles were really really good to kind of convey that and let you speak about it. But yeah, I agree with you on that whole moment of just like when everything starts opening up. I had that moment of like, oh gosh, where do I go? What am I supposed to do? I'm so used to a game like guiding me towards like stuff. And there are like you know, you do could put quest points obviously on the map and stuff you find. Talk to everybody because you get little goodies that way.
But there
Beetle
isn't
Master.
anything. There isn't anything that pops up automatically. So it is
Okay.
something that you have to do. If you are interested in seeing something, you can pop up and like place a marker here or there. So there's never like the game is never like this is where you're supposed to go. It really is, you know, you find your way.
This sounds really cool.
Yeah, it really does. Because of that, there's an end to this game, right? You can do all the stuff, and there's an ending to it, right? Is that satisfying, or is the magic of this just exploration?
It's interesting because the ending's really not the point. So if you are the kind of person who wants to see things wrap up, if you're an achievement person and you want that final goal, like that, this ending may not hit for you. But the interesting thing about the ending is it's sort of up to you. Like you can play this game and never end it. Or you can go out and get your first mask and come back and be like, okay, I'm done. So yeah, the ending, like not to spoil anything, is really just sort of about like think about all the fantastic things and how you've like who you are now versus where you were standing before.
Yeah, it sounds quaint and like, you know, you're just like a person on this journey. And you're not, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not like the one who's chosen to save the world, which is kind of nice because enough games do that. It's nice to have like more of a centralized or down to earth maybe narrative.
Yeah, down to
kind of
earth, but like you can climb up 500-foot like rock
and then glide
towers
off.
and
Yeah,
glide
yeah.
off.
Down to earth, quite literally, because you're gliding down. There we go.
Good. I do have a question though. I played the demo, and I loved, you know, obviously the style, the characters. There was a visceral charm right off the bat, right? I did have a problem with how the game handled, and I was curious because I thought the camera was a little too low on the character. Like I ran into some wonky because it is similar internet. I know Breath of the Wild, Game Journal, whatever, but like there was that similar system of Breath of the Wild where, you know, you run up to everything and you can climb it, right? Yeah. And I felt like that was kind of wonky and missed the mark sometimes. And I think, yeah, mainly camera and movement and stuff like that. Did they update that from the demo? Did you have issues with that? Because I think friend of the show, even Jesse Vitelli, said that he really couldn't play the game because of some of the issues that he ran into.
Well, I have been hearing that from around the internet. But for my playthrough, I played on the PC, so maybe that has something to do with it. I really didn't run into that at all. You just, you know, go up to any surface you can climb, you start to climb. There's no problem. Like I didn't have any problems with like clipping. I didn't have any problems with like stuttering or feeling like the frame rate was chugging or like anything like that. I think I had a few like issues of just like, oh, maybe this was supposed to pop up and it didn't, you know, sort of things. But those are sort of things I'm sort of, you know, you sort of expect when you're reviewing an early part of the game. I do know that they had plans for patches pretty soon after launch. I'm not sure if those have gone through yet. And I have heard from Xbox players that there's a lot more issues to sort of deal with.
Yeah, I've been playing on Xbox and the performance is a little rough. Just like some stuttering frame rate stuff that I'll notice. Nothing with the camera for me personally that I've had issues with, but you know, when the art is so pretty and when you get like a scene, just having like it just looks very unnatural sometimes because of the frame rate and chugging. But that was like, I haven't touched it in a few days, so there could be a new update that ran through. But yeah, for me, I noticed that I was like, oh, this isn't like the most stable performance here.
But it doesn't sound like it's dissuading you from enjoying it, though, right, Kim?
No, it's nothing that gets in the way of like the enjoyment or anything, or like had an issue where it was impacting like how I'm able to play and frustrating me or anything. It was just like, this could be a little smoother and ironed out here and there. Was just my initial impression. And mind you, like this is like based off of 2-3 hours of play, so.
For sure. Good. Because yeah, I was like I said, I was in the same boat or similar boat after the demo. I was like, there's a lot of charm here that I want to explore. So it's downloaded, it's on Game Pass. If things calm down, I'll get to it eventually. But this was one of the indies that I was very excited for. So I really want to take some time to dive into it. So that's exciting. Jill, what did you give Sable here?
An 8.75.
Oh, if I'm not mistaken, that's a pretty good score.
If I'm not mistaken, that's the highest score I've given so far.
Oh, so history too. If you want to be a part of Game Informer history, you'll play this game.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big claims.
Big claims here. That's what we do on the GI show. So yeah, definitely go to the site and check out Jill's awesome review. And we did an NGT a few months back of the demo. Sounds like things are better than they were during the demo, so maybe don't use that as your guiding Bible here. But like I said, it's on Game Pass, PC, and Xbox, right? I think it's just Xbox exclusive.
Yes.
So Dan and Alex, you gonna give this one a shot, Dan?
Yeah, it's on my thing. It's one of those. I have loved the look of it ever since I first saw it, but God, working it in right now,
it's such a bad time.
This is a gauntlet. All right, even in the year where there are no games, as they keep telling me, I keep finding them
at the same time.
Yeah, there's a lot of games. So yeah, I would like to give it a try. I would like to give it a try at some point. Mm-hmm. When that is,
I'd say yeah, January or February. But Elden Ring and Pokemon and Saints Row, and just it never
SMT5.
stops. Yeah, SMT5, like it just never stops.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah.
It is on my short list of well, it's a long list, but for sake of time, I have to pick, a few games to go back to towards the end of the year for Game of the Year, and Sable's going to be on my list of one of those games.
Ooh.
So just because it just looks right up my alley. So I'm really excited to check it out once I have time.
I think this has been a very, very impressive year for indies, and I think that has salvaged a year that could have been more barren, like some people mistakenly think. So,
yeah.
So thank you, Jill. I appreciate it. K-Star.
What up?
I know what you've been playing. I have been morbidly curious. We've been on Slack, been hearing stories, been hearing rumblings, and I'm seeing bizarre screenshots. You have been playing NBA 2K22. What the heck is going on in this game?
I'm a baller. What can I say?
Shock baller.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've been doing all my days. NBA has always had visual concepts, has always had a little bit of a sense of humor with NBA, which I appreciate. I mean, you'll go talk to your players and they're talking about like the new Vampire Diaries episode. Like they really go into it with humor. I mean, we had a character named Frequency Vibrations, okay, for 1 year. I mean, this year, they've really leaned into it, and it comes across in the new My Career mode, which is a little bit different than years previous. Previously, My Career was this big, like, cinematic, directed, narrative-driven episode, Spike Lee directed 1 year, and he maybe would have done one.
Bizarre. Just bizarre
right.
world we live in.
Like, very story-driven, and so this year they decided, you know what, like, let's let's change it up a little, and we're gonna combine my career with the city, which is its sprawling multiplayer hub. That's where you can go shopping, play pin pickup games, tournaments. Everybody gets assigned an alliance, and you're competing with other neighborhood alliances to like prove your team's the very best. Your whole career kind of plays out in this city. Like, you get your place there, your first apartment. You go visit your agents there. You can conduct interviews there. So it helps you kind of get acquainted with the city, and they redesigned the whole thing. So to put where it gets a little a little off the rails, I'll say, you play as a character named MP, and MP gets his start unconventionally. He gets noticed on YouTube. He's a YouTuber. He's like, turning heads with his sweet basketball moves on there, and then you got to decide how you're gonna, raise your stock for the draft. So you can go to college, which was initially what I chose. I love college basketball. I'm a big March Madness fan, and I was like, my character's got to go to college. YouTube might not work out. And then my team gets eliminated the first round, not because of me. Let me just put it to you that way.
Of course.
Just like the odds are stacked against me because it sims you to different quarters and puts you in certain situations that are hard to come back from. So I'm like, all right, I'm just accept this defeat. So then I went to the G League. Then I made a name for myself there. And then finally the draft comes, and I get drafted by the Lakers, which I'm like, oh God, I'm never going to play. Lakers have LeBron, Davis, Westbrook, Howard, like, oh gosh. But apparently Lakers are mad at me because I made too much noise with my YouTube. They don't take me seriously as a basketball player. So you have to prove yourself. And then and then I made a little bit of trouble on social media because I liked a tweet that said I wasn't playing enough. And then management got all mad at me. And so...
Kim, I didn't ask you what was happening in the NBA season. I asked what was happening in the game.
Here it is. It's about like being an up and coming star and what you have to do. But the way that they've made it really cool is instead of doing like a traditional storyline, like, oh, you're just going to be a superstar and the best, you can also branch out into music and fashion careers.
What the heck?
So I have my own clothing line. I walk the runway. I show it off. I've rapped. Me and the game, released a song together. It's been an experience. I have your apartment gets better and better as you go on, so you move up to greater heights. It's fun. Like I said, you don't know what to expect, and like the game hazed me for a while. Like I had to go get him coffee in the city because there's this huge big quest hub now with the city that you can do different things for your career or for your image, and you pick different tasks that you can. And then he made me like jog around the entire city to find him a jogging route. Yeah.
This man's not Kendrick Lamar here. What's the game thinking he's doing? Like, what?
So they made it a little silly. You build your character obviously in this mode. I still think it's a shame that they will only let you play as a male character in my player, and I get it. It's because of the NBA, but they also have WNBA integration now, but they make the mode separate, and it's like so limited compared to what you can do in the My Career. And I wish it was just like an option and they could have just like played both, because it's weird just having a city full of a bunch of dudes walking around, to be honest with you. But yeah, you get to pick, like I said, there's a feature I put up recently on the site that shows my crazy journey with the fashion and everything. I think it encapsulates, the promotion. I will say, the biggest knock on NBA 2K has always been its microtransactions. That's still an issue because with this, if you do the fashion path, for instance, you got to prove that you're fashionable. So you have to change your outfit so many times to what are you doing? You're using virtual currency, which you can earn by playing games, but it's such a grind that most people tap down real cash to do it. So there's little things in there that feel a little predatory, like, oh, you're making it, so I have to spend money to get there. Thankfully, I just play a lot of games and I grind it because I needed to check out the gameplay anyways, which, to say the least, like the basketball IQ this year is really improved and
Really?
top notch.
Okay.
You have more realistic features that factor into things like fatigue matters. The new, they changed the shot meter, which they changed it like a year or two back, and people did not like it to the extent that they would turn off the new shot meter and go back to the
Wow.
old.
Yeah.
So, is it
this
still on that the thumbstick like it used to be?
you just try to aim and at the top of your shot. Now it's just like you try to get in this white little circle, and it's a good mix of like, it takes into account like shooting ability, distance, fatigue, and defensive coverage, so you're more likely to see that, like, get that spot and see it a little bit improved and bigger if you're in a good spot with all that stuff. Defense feels improved as well. Like, they revamped the whole block system, so not every player just blocks like this with the hand up, like some volley it down, and like you see more realistic plays with some energy in there, and blocks happen more likely. Like, I can't get away with the same stuff I did before, where I could just drive to the basket easily and that guy would just back off or whatever. Like, you're getting it blocked, and I like that because I do feel like the game is looking a little bit more at skills this time around, and playing good basketball, and that basketball IQ. Like, you make the wrong play, you're done. Defense in particular, like, if you don't cut off your guy, like, more than ever, they're gonna blow right past you. Like, defense has definitely been, if you're not gonna play defense, like, good luck.
Like most of the league in real life.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoa,
That's a whole nother. No, that's not even hot. That's not even a hot take.
It's so hard to like encompass like a game. I spent the most of my time in my career mode because I really wanted to see where that story was going to take me, because it was so wild, and I liked it for that reason. Like, I didn't want to be merged with the city personally. I was turned off by that because last year the city was not very fun. How they made it, it was just kind of not like, just to navigate it, it wasn't set up well. It's set up better now, but there's still like, you start off on this mini freaking skateboard, which, I mean, we're not talking like Tony Hawk controls here. We're talking like a skateboard that probably goes slower than it needs to, and they're putting that carrot to get you to upgrade. And if you invest, have the time to invest, you will. But then I went to look up how much like a bike would cost me. It's like 75,000 VC, and I'm just like, dudes, like, I'm not gonna do that for a bike. But there are people, like, I don't know, right now I have like 50,000 VC, and I've been spending like pretty consistently in the game. So I'm sure there are people, if you play all day and do like the bonus things, because there's also bonus awards, like, yeah, it might not be a big dent. To me, it feels still exploitive, rather.
Because how much is, what's like, do you know off the top of your head what the comp for real money is versus
like 15 or 20 bucks, I think.
Okay, for how much VC?
For 75, I think.
Okay.
I think we did the math on it. But NBA still, it's such a hard call to make because it still has the best gameplay out of the sports games. And they keep improving upon it, and like graphics, sports commentary, can't beat that. But it's very clear here that there's a lot of grind for a reason, and I don't like that about it. And every year they make a little bit of more improvements, because I even went into my team and I was getting more packs and cards for free, and if you log in every day you get a daily reward again. But it's still at the point where like people find ways to exploit in the system and put their VC into certain things, and then it doesn't feel fair, and you're going through that whole thing, which gets upsetting. They did add drafting though to my team, and I love that, because now can like draft your own team, and you get like 5 cards and you turn only 3 over, and then those people go into your lineup and you build a team, and that's really fun because then you face off against other people. But again, your team can be altered depending on wins and losses, and so people like I already found people who just had completely exploited that system to a way where I'm just like, I'm not even gonna get involved in this mode. But you know, it's an improvement from last year. But last year felt like a bigger bang because they came out with this whole game that had the new gen visuals and the lightning fast load times. I mean, you don't have that wow factor this year. You have this like, this is certainly an improvement, and I'd love to see what else they're going to do as they improve upon like my player, my career, the city, all that. But they keep leaving franchise mode behind, and that makes me angry because I really, really like franchise mode. But all that they added was like extra staff positions you can hire for this year. So you can take into account, like, do I want a big man defense coach, and does he fit in my system? And do I want a sports psychologist so my team like has better chemistry? And that gives you stuff to think about, but it's not enough. That mode's need a revamp for a long, long time now.
Long time.
And
yeah.
So does the WNBA mode, okay? Like,
Yeah.
I got my Chicago Sky jersey here.
Go Sky. I think they were playing last night, weren't they? Aren't they in playoffs?
It's the old one, unfortunately. My new one's coming in the mail, but like, that mode was such a fun idea, and it's just like it's just text based. Like, you have to fill in the blanks of your own story. So last year I thought they were on the start of something, which I was like, oh, if they add to it this year, like, it could really be something exciting. And I know young little Kim, when she was in 6th grade, said she wanted to play for the WNBA, and I would just like, that would, you know, I'd be so cool growing up to have a game like that and be able to play in this mode. And I was just bummed that they didn't do much to it. You can work out with some WNBA players and learn some of their skills, but that's about the only addition. So,
well, hopefully they expand that even more, because I feel like the WNBA, rightfully so, is gaining popularity even more and more with ESPN buying in and stuff. So
exactly. So it's always a hard game because it's like, yes, you're at the top of it, but like sports games in general right now, I feel like are going through a lot of growing pains. There's a lot of evolution, I feel like, last generation, but they haven't been able to figure out now, like, what's next in this? Like, how do we bring it to a new level or make them exciting and different? And I see it with NBA, and I think what NBA is trying to do is like, well, we have this multiplayer, you know, hub and system, and let's really get into the online play and having, you know, more community social interaction, which is good, but your modes also have to be there, and like, just back off a little on some of those microtransactions and the stuff you're requiring for, like, just, you know, that should never merge with the main story mode. Like, if I wanted to go down this fashion path, like, I'm an NBA player, right? In real life, an NBA player gets sent stuff to wear. Like, I should just be getting sent, as my name goes up, fashion to wear, and that can be my clothes. Like, I don't need to be dropping VC. Like, it would make sense narratively as well. So I got you guys there. Like, just make it. But I did. I'm not gonna lie, I had fun with my career because it is silly. And you know what? I think it does bring up some good points of like how players can really make their career be more than just like, social media can dictate so much about it, and it can be more than just, I'm a basketball player. Like, all these players go into their own ventures. Like, I made my own shoe, guys. Like, I'm signed with Adidas. I have my own shoe with them. Like, there's so many cool little things you can do. And I just wish like they could iron out some of the kinks and some of that aggressive microtransaction stuff, and I think they'd have something really cool. Because if you look at the feature on the site, you can tell like the career stuff is really fun and worth it. But you have to put up with some BS, I'll say, so you don't have to bleep it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. We are so good. I have such a clean notebook today.
I'm learning, guys. I'm learning not to swear.
We can always mess that up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we are not done with this show quite yet. So, Kim, your reviews on the site. What did you give NBA 2K22?
7.75.
Okay, still very solid score.
Yes.
Especially for a sports game these days, I feel like anything in that range is very good. So I know I was a huge 2K fan from like I think 08 to like 14, and I've fallen off hard, and I want to get back into it one day. I just microtransactions and lack of innovation and stuff has thrown me off. So, but it sounds like you had fun.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Speaking of having fun, I think that's a segue. Alex Van Aken, what have you been playing? You took a little you took your Switch somewhere, correct?
Yeah, I took it to Austin, Texas with me, specifically just to play TOEM.
You went to Austin just to play TOEM?
Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing TOEM. I'll keep it short because I'm only about 2 hours in, and now maybe like an hour and a half in. I played it on one of my flights. It's a short flight, but really enjoy that game. Just like if people missed it or they had wish listed it or something and kind of forgot about it. Here's a reminder that you should go and play that game when you have time. It's the black and white photography game. Features a lot of light puzzles, a lot of like site-based puzzles, like look for this person, kind of like old like Where's Waldo sometimes. Like, can you find these people, these like scouts, for instance. There's one area where like you're kind of going on this adventure and you come along some Boy Scouts and they're like, well, I've got a challenge for you. And if you can find, all of my friends, then I'll give you, this reward. And so you're kind of like looking kind of Where's Waldo style through the trees everywhere with your camera trying to find people. But I've kind of jumped ahead a little bit, I should say. TOEM is a photography game. You are on your way, on your journey to capture this natural phenomenon called TOEM. And I haven't found the natural phenomenon, but I'd venture to guess it's kind of like this Aurora Borealis Northern Light situation. Maybe I'm wrong. But I get that vibe from, the main thrust of, the narrative of the game. And so the setup is you start the game off in your grandma's house. Your grandma saw TOEM when she was younger and tells you should go and find TOEM and see it yourself and document it with her old camera. And that starts you off on this journey of going from town to town. And in order to go from town to town, you need bus fare, and the bus, the ticketing officer, I guess, the ticketing person at the bus desk, they say, hey, well, I'll give you free tickets to the next town if you help the community out. And so that's where the challenges and the little puzzles and the errands come into play in the game. And so, let's say earlier I mentioned that challenge where, find all my friends in this forest and take photos of them. If you completed that and went back to the person that gave you that little quest, then they will stamp your passport essentially. And after a minimum number of stamps, you can move on to the next area. Of course, if you want to do completionist, there are plenty of smaller challenges that kind of you can enjoy doing. And I just love the charm of this game. It's very wacky, and like the people the kinds of characters that you come across, animals, ghosts, monsters, Boy Scouts, like I said,
Boybs?
Boybs?
Were you able
Scouts.
to get into the rave?
Yes, the rave is awesome.
Oh man.
Yeah, the rave is super cool. And there's like all these little secrets like Jill's kind of alluding to, if you have enough swag and you talk to the right person, maybe you can find your way into a secret rave. And yeah, so there's lots of little moments, lots of little vignettes and like jokes like that you're kind of taking photos of. And it's just a really pleasant game. It's very light, it's breezy. And I've been having a really good time. There's also one of my favorite features in the game. It does the Metal Gear Solid 5 thing where you have your personal music player, your Walkman. In this game, it's the Hike Lady. And as you go and solve puzzles and complete errands for people, you will occasionally be rewarded with a cassette tape from that area. And then as you're walking along, elsewhere, you can go through and like make a playlist for yourself and play what you want to play. and it's great. I love when games do that, and they have that. I forget the actual word for it. Diegetic. Thank you. Yeah, diegetic music in games. I love that. And TOEM is really good about that. So check it out. Oh, go ahead,
I
Joe.
will say it is only about 4 hours long, so you're like halfway there.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
the ending is super worth it, so go for it.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, I'm playing it on Switch, having a great time. And yeah, that's TOEM.
Alrighty, well, that's a lovely look at the playlist, and I think we're going to take a little break, and we'll come back with some community emails. How about that?
Awesome.
Ready to go. Welcome back to the GI show. Hello, Alex.
Hey.
Take it away. Sing our housekeeping. Let's go.
Housekeeping. Nah,
Ooh.
we're not doing that.
Oh, that was good.
That was.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Welcome to Housekeeping. Welcome back to the GI show. We always start housekeeping with reading off a new podcast review and saying thank you to the person who wrote it. This week's is a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts by X space gamer mom space X saying great show. I really like this show. Very nice and simple. Thank you, gamer mom. We appreciate you. And I think we're up to date on all the reviews. So now's your chance. You want to be shouted out on the GI show? Go and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Leave us an honest review. But yeah, if you take the time to do that, it helps us, in search results, the algorithm. If people just want to go and, see what's up with the show, how people think about it. We appreciate you taking the time to do that for us, and we will shout you out and say thank you. Upcoming Twitch streams, Dan and I, maybe others, I'm not sure. We're going to be streaming New World this Thursday at 2 p.m. Of course, Dan has already been streaming the game this week, but we are on the same server. I'm playing catch up. Dan, of course, the MMO king. He's far ahead of me, but gonna play catch up. Gonna get in the same guild. Gonna rock some boars, rock some wolves, and maybe get up to some shenanigans. 2 p.m. Central Thursday. Twitch.tv/Game Informer. Of course, that gets you access if you're a sub to our stream. That gets you access to our official Game Informer community Discord, where there's awesome folks in there, great conversation. You can chat with us too. We're in there. So yeah, if you'd like, support the stream with your Twitch Prime sub or, one of those shiny tier 1 subs. But moving over to YouTube this week, youtube.com/Game Informer. We've got a video that I did on how to upgrade your PS5 storage. If you'd like more details on, hard drive recommendations, heatsink recommendations, head over to the website and check out the shell there. And I've got some links and some additional info from Sony on, the specifics of what you should look for when you are buying a M.2 NVMe SSD for your PS5. But yeah, once you have all that, go watch the video. Really easy, 8 minutes. And then you'll have more space on your PS5. Lastly, cover. We had our Midnight Suns cover, and we have actually a really cool time-lapse video showing it being, illustrated, and from pencil sketches to the final thing. It's really cool, Alex. You can kind of speak more to that.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple video. It is just the sped up time lapse, but it is I don't think it got enough love personally. So I think if you're just hearing about it right now, even if you don't care about Midnight Suns, go check it out because it's just I'm fascinated because I can't draw to save my life. So I'm fascinated to see people who actually can create these murals, these works of art. So if that's of anything of interest to you, it's pretty quick. So definitely go check it out. I recommend it personally. So.
Awesome. And then lastly, follow the crew on social. Stadnik is at Studnik76. I'm at It's Van Aken. K-Star is at K-Star1785. Dan is at Dan Tack. And Jill is at Finn Ruin. And Alex, that's it. Back to you. Listener email time.
Thank you. Quick piece of housekeeping on my end. Your cat is still alive, right?
Yes, thank you for watching her.
Okay,
for checking in on
that
her.
is some housekeeping right there.
Yeah,
What in the
was
world?
like,
I took care. About to get real
you
bleak
do?
here.
I took care. I fed Alex's cat while he was gone, and I never saw the thing. Every time they just never appeared.
She doesn't like unannounced strangers.
That's
even though you've met her multiple times.
I announced myself every time. I said, "Dearest cat, I am here to feed you," and they never came out.
Well, that's because you said it weird. She got weirded out.
That's fair. So, okay, good. Just wanted to check in on that. Make sure
she's alive. Thank
good.
you, Alex. Thank you
alive
very much.
And well. You are
I do
welcome.
appreciate it. Sincerely. Thank
you. I no problem. Let's get to listener emails, shall we? This is the beautiful part of the show where you can write into podcast@GameInformer.com or submit a question in the Game Informer section of our Discord that Alex laid out earlier. Be sure to check that out. Thursday, Friday streams. It's a beautiful thing. But today, we're doing all email questions. So once again, send them in, podcast@GameInformer.com. We did heat map last week. Thank you to everyone who sent that in. Like I said, we're going to do that every couple of weeks. So give you time to send in your audio hot takes. Tack, I know there's one for you, so I got to get you on in the next one.
God,
so
no.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We love it. But first, we're going to get to our first email here. This one comes from Evan McLaughlin from Rochester, Minnesota. Or somewhere, I think Chadfield. I don't know where he is this day. This is a friend of mine. If you aren't going to be able to tell here quickly. So it says, "Hi, GI crew. I was recently turned on to your show. Really like your work, other than sometimes one of the hosts gets a little big man swag to his head. Lets his big man swag get to his head." Just wanted to make sure you knew who this was from. Also, never mind. I can't be too mean on air here. With the voice cast released for the upcoming Mario movie, it has me excited. I really enjoyed the casting of Charlie Day as Luigi, two people I relate to a lot. This got me thinking, what video game character would you like to see hit the big screen, and who should play them? Can be live action or animated. And bonus question, what is something you hate or love about Alex Stadnick, and you can't tell which one it is? Sincerely, Evan. You don't need to answer that last part, but I'm sure he'd be upset at me if he didn't answer it. So, K-Star, I think you were very excited when I asked this question. Do you have an answer right off the dome?
Aloy.
Yep.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's a very, very good one. Horizon movie?
Would you who would you cast as Aloy? It's a tough one.
Ooh, that's a good question. Because Aloy is... Oh, I'm biased, but Florence Pugh. Put Florence Pugh in everything.
Oh, that actually is a good. Yeah, I like
Florence
that.
Pugh and everything. That's right. That is a good strategy. I like it.
Literally, every movie's
would
better.
make a good Aloy. That is
There's I genuinely think she has the physicality for the role, right? She has the attitude. I think there's a lot of awesome space for that role in that, I feel like.
I also wouldn't mind having a Kirby movie.
Oh yeah,
oh,
you said that so quiet. Like people don't like Kirby. Like what?
I love Kirby, and all I get is I'm trying not to swear, but all I get is
mediocre.
Like everyone's like, Kirby. Oh, you like?
Oh,
Kirby?
You get crap for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would play Kirby?
That's what I'm saying. But does Kirby
would it
even have a voice?
Would it be a suit, or would it be someone painted pink? What is the
It's
protocol
gotta
here
be animated. I don't want to see it like any other way. But yes, I think Kirby needs his time to shine on the big screen, and I'm tired of Mario upstaging my little pink puff. Okay.
Since we've entered the era of castings that just don't make any sense to gamers, let's put Dave Bautista in the pink Kirby suit.
Yes.
Huh? Does that sound good?
No.
No?
It doesn't sound good.
Why not?
Well, you can do it if you want. You asked me if it sounded good. It doesn't sound good.
Sounds bad.
Good. Yeah, it sounds bad, man. Tack, do you have a choice for this one?
I think they should stop turning games into movies. How about that?
I'm with Tack.
How about that? But if we got to do it, let's get nuts. Let's do Nick Cage and Silent Hill 2.
Oh my god.
Are we happy? All right, there we go. All right. But yeah, in general, let's just not do that. Let's just stop. Let's have each medium be its own thing, and stop like trying to. God, oh man, I've had it. I've had it up to here with these video game movies. All right, I'm not going to take it anymore.
Was this last Nintendo one was the last straw, right? Like when I was saying the casting, because my fiance was working in the other room, and I was like, I'm listing the names. I'm like, I can't believe what I'm saying out loud is real right now.
Right.
Like this should not be real, but it is.
So for mine, I want to go backwards because this is very possibly how the Mario casting went down. So I want someone to give me a great video game. Just whatever you can think of off the top of your head that has characters that we can cast.
Deathloop.
Deathloop. Okay.
I mean, I think it'd be a bad movie, but that's a good game with a good.
So I have here a random celebrity generator for Deathloop.
Yes.
Who is our main character? Cole.
Careful with this one.
Colt Vaughn.
This is going to end badly. Yes.
Yeah.
Is played now by Rihanna.
Okay.
Sure.
I can dig it. Yeah.
Okay. Juliana.
Yep.
Is Seth Green?
No. we
Checks
reject
Some
that
interesting
casting
gender
Yeah.
swaps
swap
here.
there.
Yeah, gender
Huh.
reversal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We say no to that casting.
And then
Yeah, I think we
maybe
do.
a third. Who is like the third most important?
I would
Alexis Dorsey.
Yeah.
Alexi.
Alexi, whatever.
Alexi. Yeah. Alexi. Yeah.
Alexi,
is now played posthumously by Elizabeth Taylor.
Okay.
Okay.
That's CGI? What? No, never mind. I don't care.
Just
Well,
doing the
Alexi has a
thing.
wolf mask always on, so you
There we
know.
go. There we
that
go.
works really well. Wow.
We've just cast our first game.
You used technology to cast this. I appreciate that. Oh my goodness, I love it. Alex, are we not playing this game now?
You know, I've always wanted to be, casted into a video game myself. There's not enough movies about an everyday person being transported to a video game world. And I would love to finally have that happen. I want to be represented in media, and maybe Adam Sandler could
Wow.
maybe give it a shot, or
To play you?
or Ryan Reynolds. Like,
He's
I feel
not
like
funny
there's-
enough. They're not funny enough.
there's something there. I think some secret sauce waiting to be mixed together.
Answer.
What a wild conversation this
Video
is.
game movies are bad. I'm with Dan.
There's got to be like one. I like the original Lara Croft. I like that movie.
Mortal Kombat.
What?
That's
Yeah,
pretty-
Mortal Kombat
The
was
original
good,
Mortal
yeah.
Kombat.
Yeah.
Yeah, there can be good sometimes. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, when you're batting 2 to 5%, that's really good, right?
Yeah, I spun it
Keep it
towards
up.
the end.
We're getting better in the like TV realm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
At the
that's
very
true. That's true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I think I've brought it up a couple of times, but I think TV's a better medium for video game related stuff. That's why I'm like excited to see what The Last of Us brings, and all the different animes that Netflix is doing. They're doing like a Splinter Cell anime, like a bunch of crazy stuff out there.
Okay,
So
you're so right. Like, remember Death Note? That was like the best thing they
that's
ever did.
not a video game
No,
thing,
Witcher
Dan. You
has
can't
been
bring that
good.
up. Witcher's
The
been
Witcher
good.
has been, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see. I don't know if I have a good one. The internet wants Dave Bautista in Gears of War. Give it to him.
I could see it.
Yeah. I don't really have a good, I'm trying to think like Master Chief or anything like that. I don't know. We are moving on to the next one. So no one wants to answer what they love or hate about me and not tell me which one is which.
That
that's
seems
too
like a
much
bad
work.
idea.
Yeah. Alex is thinking. Yeah.
His height.
Oh, okay. I will leave that to the speculation here. This one is from this one's from Taylor Witt in Nashville, Tennessee. It says, I did it. Good for you.
Oh boy, we don't want to read the rest of this email.
I just finished the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and I've been playing it since the game was released back in May. I know. Give me a break. I have an infant at home and a demanding job, so I'm lucky to get 10 hours of gaming in per week. Sounds like an excuse. Can't be that hard. Having the trilogy play as one seamless and cohesive experience makes for such a deeper impact on the story and characters. I absolutely loved playing this game again, but man, was it long. I was so ready to be done like 30 hours ago, and now I'm behind on all my other games I've been wanting to play. This brings me to my question about this thing called gaming fatigue, which they've bolded, so they mean business here.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a time during my childhood and college days where I would have loved a 100+ hour game. So why am I experiencing this is the results of having limited time, or is this seemingly high demand for new video games and content so pervasive now that I feel like I need to move quickly from one game to the next? The same fatigue made me want to be done with a beautiful game. I rush through content and meaningful conversations just to get through it more quickly, and I don't like that I did that. Can we talk about this conundrum? From Taylor.
Two things for this.
Hit me.
Real quick.
A lot of things for this.
More responsibilities as you get older. It's not like you just have more to do, you have less time to do it. And B, games come out at such a faster rate than they did when we were younger. Like, I remember I could like plan my schedule around stuff of like, all right, this RPG's coming out here, this coming out here, but it doesn't happen. Things release all the time. I mean, it's just like Netflix with them putting out TV shows and stuff. Every week there's a new one. It's just media consumption, entertainment, everything just comes out at such a fast rate. It's impossible to keep up with it all.
Yeah, definitely. When I was a kid, like I obviously didn't have like control over what I was getting. So it was sort of a like maybe Christmas present, maybe birthday present. You'll get one thing and you get to play that the whole year. And you like I would have loved to have played 100-hour games because I had 100 hours to put into it because I had that one game. But like Kim's definitely on something there because you know, as you grow up and you have all these responsibilities, like I'd love to dump in so many more hours to so many more things, but it's like even like have to take out the trash and I have to like do yard work now and I have to like worry about taxes and
we made gaming our jobs and we can't even keep up. Like
100%. That's so real. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and there is like, especially with gaming being your job, there's that very real pressure to like play everything.
Yep.
So yeah, it is sort of sometimes hard to just sit back and relax and enjoy the ride.
Yeah. I think Ben Pack said it on MinMax's show when he was leaving Giant Bomb, but he said something to the effect of, to be a games journalist, you have to know 2 or 3 games like it's religion, and then you just have to know like 10% of every other game out there. And that's not how I used to consume content, you know, before this job, and it takes some getting used to for sure. So and to that point of the 100-hour games used to seem so nice. Like I think it is for me. It's like, don't waste my time anymore. Like I've gone from a person who was an achievement hunter who got all the feathers in Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
And one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, and now I can't stomach some of that because it's like this just feels like filler, and I genuinely just don't have time, you know, because we have to keep up for our jobs, because I want to maintain some semblance of a social life, because I want to watch movies. I want to watch great video game movies that there needs to be more of, you know? So I think
there's a good one, Deathloop, coming out.
Yeah, with a problematic casting, but we can talk about that later. Yeah,
Free Guy 2, come to the theaters near you.
I think priorities change too. I think as you get older, you spot that stuff of like, this is just filler content, or like I don't need to get all this achievement or whatever. Like you just feel differently about certain stuff. Sure, if you want to do it, it's there to do, but I think you look for more meaningful content within a game, just because you're aware sometimes of like, this is just here if I want to do it, and you know what, right now I don't want to do it, so I'm not going to. You know,
well, and to that point too, not only is there infinitely more access to content out there, I think there's better games out there now too. Like we've talked about a lot of indies on this show, and it's like I would rather play something like Death's Door than, you know, find the next Watchtower, you know, and fill my time that way. And I'm not trying to poop on open world titles that do that, right? Like, you know, we as a society have also told developers we want the most bang for our buck. So like this is a hard road, but I think with the glut of awesome indies on top of the AAA space, I think this proposition gets even harder and harder with the gaming fatigue. So yeah. Tack, what do you think?
What do I think?
What do you think?
I think this is hard to do, and it's something you should do. And that is, don't feel rushed. Never feel like you have to finish a game. If you stop liking a game, put it down immediately. Walk away. You're never obligated to finish a game. If you're not having fun, just put it down. And I also think that today we have more variety than ever in the kind of length of games we can choose. I certainly don't want to dictate what a game length should be. Some games need to be 100 hours. Other games need to be shorter. And we have there's so many games right now. We have the luxury of picking what kind of experience we want, what kind of game length we want before we get into it. So I think that helps a lot. I think what we're dealing with here is actually this obligation. Like I just stopped caring about 5 years ago when somebody's like, oh my God, you got to play this. It's the best game ever. I'm like, yeah, all right, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't. And that's cool. It's just like, and then you're like, when you do get that recommendation and you feel like you've got to get through it and you've got to love it and you're like, why don't I like it yet?
Yep.
Not, your friend telling you to play the game is your friend, and you got different opinions, and don't feel obligated to always go at your own pace. And if it doesn't feel right, move on.
And it's such a sweet feeling when you find that game that just hooks you and just feels like, oh, I just want to keep coming back to this, and you're not forcing it on you, and you have that feeling, it's worth it for those moments of just like,
yeah,
this is wonderful.
I see a lot of people trying to force their way through titles that they don't really like, and they're not gonna like it. They're like, I'm 30 hours in and I don't get it. You don't know you get it.
That's the game. Yeah, we've established it.
Like, not every game is going to resonate with people the same way. And
I keep hearing it's really going to open up 20 more hours in.
we're not going to get into the whole thing that it gets good after 40 hours. All right, we're not going to get into that. But I think it's a very real thing that I've seen this a lot in different communities where people are just like, this is the best thing ever. And then I see several people just like force their way through it, and they have a really negative experience, right? Like, just don't. If you're not feeling it, a lot of other stuff out there to play and do.
Yeah.
Your time is valuable. Use it well. Games are a great way to spend it. Just like, if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it, and don't feel obligated to feel it.
For sure. I think it gets hard too with social media, because I like Destiny is a prime example, right? They announced the new expansion and the timeline lit up with Destiny stuff. And just time-wise, I couldn't make time for it, And it's like, but this all looks so fun and I want to experience it, you know what I mean? And so I get the FOMO aspect of this. I get it too. It's hard. Yeah.
I remember when Destiny 2, all that new stuff came out, I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then I never loaded it up, and nor do I have any intention to do so. But
you happily lived your life.
I got some cheese. I ate it. It was beautiful. All right.
And he played a ton of other games he really liked.
Yeah,
that's right. And that can be really hard to do. Believe me, I understand exactly what the FOMO is. A super real thing. Yep. I'm seeing it now with New World. People who don't even like MMOs are like, well, I got to get in. Everybody's playing it. And then it's like, what the hell am I even doing? It's like, yeah.
I'm refunding this.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely not a hard spot, it is a hard spot. But, I think TAC gave the best advice. Go at your own pace. Play the games you like. Life is far too short, especially with Bebe. I can't imagine you have too much time. But then you can give your child the games that you like, and it'll be a whole awesome thing.
So this is turning into a beautiful story. Yeah, I like this email. We got to
be sure to frame this one, Taylor.
I feel like we really crushed that answer, all of us. We did really well.
Yeah. And I didn't even answer, so
I was going to say, Alex, did you want to jump in on us?
No, it's really good, you guys.
Yeah, I think that you guys echoed everything I would say. I've always been somebody with a short attention span, and I do not feel any remorse about moving on to a game that brings me happiness. Like Dan said, your time is the most important resource you have, so use it wisely.
Speaking of using your time wisely, are you playing New World right now?
You totally
I'm totally on.
No. Listen, there was a guy that started attacking me, and then I started attacking others. It was a whole thing, Alex. We're not going to get into it on the podcast.
Well, I'm just going to get my Switch out now and just do that for the rest of the podcast, if that's what we're allowed to do.
We're not allowed.
Got some Eastward to play.
We got 5 episodes in, and it all fell apart.
Real talk, I saw somebody run by me that I thought was one of our peers, and I was messaging them to see if it was them, and they didn't respond. So,
it's definitely them.
Yeah,
it's definitely them then.
I'm in game, can't talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Greg Miller just ran by. Last one from friend of the show, Wes Bates from Woodland, California. Says, good day, GI crew. It's been some time since I've written into the show, and wanted to start off by congratulating Alex S. and Alex V on the fantastic job they're doing taking over the show. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Love the energy and the new direction, and it's been a pleasure to listen to the show over the past few weeks. Also, hats off to Reeves as well for a fantastic job on the show previously. Amen. My question comes following some pointed commentary from the gaming community on social media towards games marketing cycles for recently released titles such as Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, and Deathloop. In the case of Kenna, there was much hand-wringing and complaining about the lack of marketing for the game. I saw many comments that there wasn't enough game shown and not enough being done to push the game, leading to launch. In stark contrast, I saw an equal, if not higher, amount of complaints about Arcane's Deathloop, that it was overmarketed and that they showed too much of the game since it was first revealed last year at the Sony PS5 event. My question to this panel is, what is the right amount to market a game? It seems that game companies can't win with the audience, and I rarely hear a marketing cycle praised for doing it right. It's either too overmarketed or too undermarketed, or pushed too long or too out of touch with the fans, or some other complaint. Is there a right way to market a game that will appeal to fans without rubbing the intended consumers the wrong way? Lastly, what is the best example of a marketing cycle that you've seen that you think more companies should follow when buying their games when bringing their games to the public? Keep up the great work, and thanks for taking my question if you do. Best regards, Wes Bates.
Let's break this down a little bit because he's got like multiple layers.
There's a lot going on here. Yeah, a lot going on here.
Go ahead, Kim.
No, go. You're playing.
Oh, my first reaction.
You gotta get it out now.
No, yeah, my first reaction was just, it's been interesting seeing everybody calling out Deathloop for, all of this marketing. I certainly feel that game marketing fatigue that everybody else does. I didn't get how this is any different from, insert title here if it's, published by a big publisher. I feel that way about most big games that come out. At this point, Far Cry, I'm just all right, can we please just release the game? It was interesting. Just an observation. It was interesting that was the title that everybody started this marketing. I wonder what about it that made it such. But that's all I was gonna say.
I think for Deathloop, there was just so much it's being delayed. Every time it would be delayed, it was sort of incumbent upon them to reintroduce people to it when they thought they were getting ready again, and then it'd get delayed and then reintroduce.
Yeah.
So that was sort of not an intentional, this is how the best way to show our game off to everybody, sort of thing. So that's just a hard situation to be in because, you don't intend to overmarket your game. You don't intend to undermarket your game a lot of the times. But for that one in particular, it's just there was a lot of unexpected things that were happening, and you can't just
For
say,
sure.
okay, we're going to release it tomorrow, and then it doesn't go, and then it goes for a year and you never see it again. That would be not enough for people to sort of get excited about. So yeah, I don't know if that's a good example of an intentional marketing scheme that wasn't great.
To me, there's two big parts to this. Two big parts of marketing anyways. The first is that marketing has to go through the whole point of making people know what the game is. What is are we seeing enough to be able to infer oh, the game's gonna be an RPG that's gonna be hours on end. Oh, it's gonna be really narrative driven, whatever. We need to know when we see footage what to expect, what's going to be there. So I feel like they peel back those layers. And then once we see enough, and sometimes it's not enough, we see a trailer and we're what did I just watch? I'm not sure what this game is. Marketing should be conveying to us what the game is and being honest about it, because that's, I think, another thing that touches on base here is just marketing sometimes can convey things that are not there. Or you get the game and you're this is not what I was expecting. And so I think it's important to just let us see what the game is, show it up front, be honest about the features and what's going into it. And if they don't know yet, they don't know yet, but you have to say that. And then the next step to it is we have to know the game is coming, and we have to be reminded that the game is coming, because I think what a lot of people forget in this is like, if there is a delay, well, then they have to remarket that the game is now coming down the line, like what happened with Deathloop. And I know so many times we'll watch even in trailers and we'll be like, oh, I forgot about this game. Like, we need to constantly have that game in your mind that it's coming, but you have to do it at a way that's not an annoying rate. It's a difficult task, but I think when I look at it, those are the 2 points of like, I like when I'm aware of what the experience is going to be like, and I feel confident in what I've seen, and I feel like the game, like the marketing has been honest about what they're offering and not trying to hide things or, you know, make it where they're not showing it for what it is. And then just me knowing that, hey, this game's on the horizon. Like, those are the important, I feel like, beats for me that they need to cover.
Right. There are also situations too where it's really cool when something you've been waiting for and you haven't heard about, it just shadow drops. You have
Yep.
no
Right.
idea what's coming. I think that was recently Undertale Chapter 2.
Yeah.
No idea that was coming, and then the world explodes with how excited they are. So that's also a way to go. But I mean, people already sort of knew what they were expecting with that game, so that's why that works.
For sure. I think going into this question and asked what the best marketing campaign we can think of is, I do think I think I had a different answer, or I had an answer until Kim made the great point of like, your marketing has to represent what the game actually is. Because I think execution wise, something like Halo 5 had an awesome marketing campaign with the podcast, or excuse me, with they did
The truth. Yeah.
the Hunt the Truth podcast. They did one beta. That wasn't marketing, right? But like, you know, they did one beta so people get a taste of what the game is. And I think they marketed it probably too well, because when we actually got the game, it wasn't that great. It wasn't what the marketing built it up to. So in that case, you're right. That's not good marketing. They oversold it.
Yeah.
Which makes me sad because I loved what they were marketing, right? I think what Bethesda did with Fallout 4 is probably what you want to shoot for, right? Announce it. It's 6 months out. Here's, well, maybe not exactly tied in. Here's Fallout Shelter to bridge the gap, you know, just something to keep you reminded of Fallout while this is coming out. And, you know, over the next 6 months, where you're going to get a couple of trailers and then you're going to get the game. That's my perfect like run up to it. I didn't really love Fallout 4, not my favorite of the series, but it's still like, I think they handled that as well as you probably can. It also helps to have one of the biggest IPs in gaming. So
Yeah, that you can actually do that with.
yeah.
It also sucks too, because things can get very overhyped in our social media age, and you just don't know sometimes when you show a trailer what people are going to latch onto. And just like, you know, we saw that happen with, for instance, No Man's Sky. Like, that game, people wanted that game to be everything, and a little bit of, you know, misstep there on some of the marketing, but you also can't handle what people's expectations are going to be once they get excited about a premise or a concept or whatever. And it's trying then to rein in those expectations and be honest, you know, about what is actually like the intention of the game, or what's there for people. Because then there's that utter like, and there's like, you know, we hear it all the time, that game didn't live up to the hype, whatever. But it's tricky. I like don't it's not a job I think is easy by any means to do. That's for sure.
Right. Kim definitely puts me in mind of the blue box abandoned situation there.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of harsh. But for good ones, I don't know if I can remember the entire cycle, but I do remember the E3 that God of War 2018 appeared. And like that franchise had disappeared. No one was talking about it. Was like that was on no one's radar. And then they showed up with a gameplay trailer. And it was just so fantastic. And you knew immediately what it was going to be and what they were going for and what the tone change was going to be. And that was fantastic.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
I forget. I'm blinded by the fact that E3 is just basically one big commercial, but it's our commercial, and I love it. I do love. I love E3. So, any parting thoughts before we say goodbye on this one?
Don't
Baxter
think so.
didn't say anything.
Feeling good. I was gonna say I've called on him a couple of times. I don't know. Maybe are we good?
You want to get it? Yeah, okay. You want to get into this? You know,
Uh-oh.
I
Always,
want to.
I
I'm here
always-
for this.
The
This is
people
what
are
I'm
Like,
here
for.
for the tack attack here.
I don't care if it's if they're talking about the game on social, I don't care. I don't care unless somebody like kills somebody, right? They're like, oh man, Deathloop's overmarketed. That doesn't matter. You're talking about Deathloop. I don't care. Go nuts. Let's get more marketing dollars. Let's talk more about that game. It'll get that brainworm going. At least you know what the game is. You might buy it. Deathloop had a challenge, I think, of marketing itself, like what it tried to market itself into a bucket, right? Like, hey, is this a shooter? Is this an RPG?
Yep.
No, it's just some weird roguelike time traveling nonsense. What? Wait a minute. I don't know if I like that. So I think, that was the challenge for Deathloop, not the fact that it was like, sure, it's out there, it's being talked about. Great. What? Go ahead, say how it's being over talked about. Do it every day. Say how much you hate hearing about it. I love it. Let's go. At least that
Feed the beast.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep.
You're thinking about
Poke
it. The
the
brainworm. The brainworm is in there. You have the brand recognition, regardless of whether you want it or not. I think again, the marketing challenge for that game was the very nature of the bizarre genre blend that game was, selling that, not the actual game itself. Like that's great, right? But like, great. We have more marketing dollars to do more advertisements. This is good for the product. Yes, we do this. I mean, the people complaining about it are actually just contributing to it.
Because then
They're making it more popular.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the marketing selling the product. The units are moving. There we go. Is that happening? Yes or no? That's that. Let's look at some numbers. All right, the end.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'll go on. It's again, unless it's a super big negative, right? And that can happen. If it's just they're talking about my game too much, wow, what a great problem to have. Sweet.
Somehow Dance reminded me of something good for social media, for the marketing situation. Fall Guys is so good on social media and keeping you constantly in the loop and like saying the most ridiculous, hilarious things. A lot of indies are really in that space of like that's where they're marketing. So shout out to Fall Guys for their social media.
Well, yeah, and I feel like they really tapped into something that Xbox also started to tap into. I guess I don't know the timeline of it, right?
Personified brand.
Yeah, of like the
sentient brand.
hitting up McDonald's, being like, "Yo, you up?" from the Xbox account, or like, I mean, but that's like how a lot of Fall Guys got their partnerships. I feel like, or at least publicly, right? I'm sure there was stuff going on in the background, but I feel like at the start it was literally them hitting up like, yo, Sony, what's Aloy doing? Like, like that kind of thing. Like, how can we get the Burger King in our game? That kind of stuff.
And the
Wait,
Snake
you
King.
mean Ronald McDonald didn't call up Kentucky Fried Chicken? Oh, my favorite brands. I love them so much. Let's go buy some.
Science is so true.
Oh, I love it. Well, I think we've peaked here on this episode,
Yep.
and as any good narrative knows, it's time to get out. So,
Yeah.
what a beautiful
I just want to say
panel.
the self-control I've had recording this podcast with New World up in the background. I slept for about 2 minutes when that person ran by me and ghosted me. I've just been sitting here and getting upgrade point notifications pop up because I'm like the territory is improving. I'm like, I got a lot of points to spend after this podcast is over. So I'm
moral
glad
of
we're
this
done.
podcast.
It was a good it was a good episode, but I'm happy that we made it to this part.
What's real anymore? I don't even know. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to the panel who joined me today. Y'all are awesome. Go follow them. They're great people. Some of the best writers in the industry, if I do say so myself. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe over on YouTube and podcast services. We love your support on all those if you can. Apple Podcasts especially. Be sure to check out the website. A lot of really awesome written content on there. Dan's got a ton of New World stuff. Really good look at indies, RPGs. You know the drill at this point. I think I said like, share, and subscribe 3 times, and I'll say it once more. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you later.
Yeah, it's a fantastic brand. Engage with us.
Please, yeah. Put us in Fall Guys.
If your other brands, tweet at us. Maybe we'll tweet back.
Maybe.
Probably not.
Don't count on it. Bye, everyone.